It's been an interesting time in the last 4 weeks when we got to fly home back to New Zealand. I caught COVID on the plane and ended up isolating for the first week, but I got to enjoy it with those two and my family. While I was away, I got a new job and I work for Sunrise Holidays. So I get to help all you wonderful people who would like to rent a camper van or motorhome to travel around New Zealand. So I flew to Christchurch to pick one up and I got to have KFC with my brother. I went from Christchurch all the way back up to Auckland via Napier. Anyone that knows me knows that I love road tripping, and because I was home I needed to quickly scoot down to go and see my auntie who lives in Foxton Beach and one of my best friends who lives in Napier. So I took the opportunity to learn how to use the Sunrise Freedom camper van, and on my way back up the island I stopped in at Kaikoura to show you guys how amazingly beautiful our coastline is and to go see some seals. So I parked up in the camper van and went for a little walk to find these cute little things, and there they are sitting on the rocks having a good old time in Kaikoura. That's a couple of hours shy of Picton where I have to be to catch the ferry to get back up to the North Island. It's about a 4-hour ferry ride. The sea was quite rough during this time. It was all good while we were getting out of the sounds, and as soon as we hit open water I got quite seasick really. And I know what you're thinking, I'm about to go and live on a cruise ship. I'm really hoping that I will get used to living on water, but until then I have some good medication that will help see me through, I'm sure. Now the weather was pretty beautiful in Picton, and then out to sea it got really dark. We hit Wellington in the dark, in the rain, and then I had to drive up to Foxton Beach where I stayed with my auntie. Foxton is a really special place for me because it was the last place my mum lived before she passed away, and she really loved going to the beach to spend her time there. In Foxton town they have this really cool river loop walk. There's a lot of flax there and some beautiful bird life. Some old boats that are in the river there, but as you're walking along, what's really neat is they have all these placards of the history of this river and the trade that it was used for. One of the special things in Foxton is the Dutch windmill that they have there. It's a bit of a tourist attraction, and it is a memorial to the Dutch immigrants who arrived in New Zealand since the Second World War. It is a working windmill and they actually mill flour there. They have some really cute older buildings that are there, obviously not as old as what we see in the UK, but still cool. The windmill was a bit of a detour from our loop walk. On our way back there was an anchor made from wrought iron. It didn't look real because you could see the hammer marks in it, but it was really impressive. And then they have this bridge. It's a piece of a very long bridge that I remember really well when I was a kid going over it many times. It was built in 1939 and they've saved a piece of it for here. The artwork on this building was really cool. It's called the River Loop Hall and it was built in 1924. And as you walk around then you see where the old Foxton Railway yards used to be. There is just so much history that it just makes this place super beautiful and really cool to look into. After being at Auntie's, I made my way to Palmerston North and spent some time with my gorgeous goddaughter and her beautiful family. I miss very much. And then tootled off to Napier. One of the days I walked to Chanel's work and I went through Anderson Park. Now, I couldn't believe the amount of bird life that called this place home. So many different varieties in one place, and right next door to a very noisy main road. So I guess these guys feel safe and protected in this environment. I found it a very serene, beautiful place to be and to spend some time just watching these beautiful birds. On my way home from there, I went into Napier itself to the shoreline where they have the National Aquarium. Went for a little walk. They have a cool statue there that was depicting the fishermen of the day, and a really nice water feature, which I found stunning. I love water features though. Once again, our gorgeous coastline, and travelled my way from there to Taupo. And that is a beautiful place to be. If you've never been there, I highly recommend visiting our beautiful large lake. Then I journeyed to home. Now, I had done 1,068 kilometres to get there. That weekend, Mark and I took the camper van to Kaiawa and watched the rugby with the olds. I had some alcoholic lemonade, didn't know it existed, and we had a fabulous meal at the hotel that night. Next day we went to one of our favourite freedom camping spots called Ray's Rest, where you actually get to park right along the shoreline there and wake up to that beautiful view every morning and fall asleep with the waves lapping at night. With my last week, I caught up with some colleagues and my drivers from my job at Zion Motorhomes, and we packed to leave. Now, Sapphire was clearly not impressed and she wanted to come, and then they both were like, "No, Dad, you can't go without us." Then it was time to say goodbye. Our very special friends Steve and Pal and our gorgeous children came to the airport to say goodbye again, and with that we followed those birds and headed to our plane.